This is Habakkuk 2, verse 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to the Most High and His only begotten Son, who we know and believe as Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ravakakodash. Double honors to the elder apostles, a great millstone that taught me this truth and that rule well. Peace, love, and blessings also to you sincere laborers out there pushing this truth in all sincerity and faith and honesty. And also blessings to you few sisters out there listening, learning, and believing. As you can see, I opened up with Habakkuk 2 verse 3. It says, for the vision is yet for appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. All right, and the vision is pretty much ultimately the day of the Lord. But the vision is the prophecies, man. Okay, and through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai Shai, Elder Tahar deemed this the year of prophecy. And I'm gonna get right into it. This article here, this is inquire.net. And what is an RFID and how does it work on tollways? Manila, Philippines, with the impending shift of tollway systems from cash-based payments at toll plazas to an independent cashless system. And Bill Gates, there's a recent videos of Bill Gates talking about moving towards this new cashless system. That's pretty much what this whole COVID-19 thing was is the vehicle to move in this new world order. All right, because as we can see, the old world faded, passed away, man. Okay, to where America, proud to be an American, free Constitution, all that is fading away due to the how can I say, due to the presence of safety and national emergency due to a pandemic. All right. It says many people are confused about how radio frequency identification or RFID works. Okay. So instead of at toll plazas, you know how you have the Sun Pass, or you got to pay with coins or pay with cash. You have a teller there to transfer or to make change, so you can pass through whatever checkpoint, whatever it is you're trying to get on, go past. But as you can see here, they talking about it's a coin shortage. And then later on, I'm gonna keep reading. It says the shift was brought about by the Department of Transportation order to the management of all tollways nationwide to adopt an RFID system by November 2nd. Now listen to this. It says as part of efforts to minimize coronavirus transmissions. So you got coin shortages because you used to, if you didn't have the exact amount of change, you can go to the teller and pay them, and they'll give you change so you can pass the tolls. And in that Sun Pass, but you gotta always understand, gradualism. These things just don't pop up. They have to get people used to using these things. So that Sun Pass that you have in your windshield to pass the tolls, you were loaded with money. All right, that was getting people familiar, getting people used to not using cash, man. Okay. Now they're talking about there's a coin shortage, so you can't go to the teller and give them paper monies, and then they give you back change so you can pass. Now it's mandating that by November 2nd, okay, the Department of Transportation, the Department of Transportation, all right, they have a lot of power over requirements for vehicles on the road. All right, it's another department that's escaping me right now, but Florida Highway Safety, wherever they call it, certain things that cars have to have equipped for collisions and lightings and all sorts of things. So these people have power. They have lots of power, man. Okay, Department of Transportation, Florida Highway Safety Patrol, whatever they call it, they have enough power to where if a car company, all right, has a certain lighting, like let's say your headlights are in a certain position, okay, they can stop a whole company, like let's say Ford, for example, all right. No, Audi. I remember one time Audi, the way they had their lights, the sequence of their lighting in the back of their car would like kind of violated some type of Department of Transportation or some type of safety on the road, right? The road rules due to certain departments like Department of Transportation, to where they had to pretty much they couldn't the car pretty much wasn't legal until they changed the headlight sequence, the tail light sequence in the back. So that's a lot of power. So if they made 100,000 of that specific car, then what? Now they have to change all their tail lights on that car. So that's power, man. You able to stop production and pretty much tell a major car company that produce a mass amount of cars that they can't, design a car in a certain way. I know I'm rambling on too much, but Lord's willing, you get the point. So the point I want to focus back on again is in order to management of all tollway nationwide to adopt RFID system by November 2nd. So we currently, today is September 30th. All right, so we have a month. So they have a month to pretty much, get this thing going, to pretty much have these systems in play. And that leads you to the scripture because, these people have the power, man. Okay? And it's nothing that you can do about this. And we all know the scripture, but we have to go to it. All right? It's just Revelation. I didn't mean to make this bigger. This is Revelation 13, verse 16. And he called it all, both small and great. And you can see he calls it. To cause somebody to do something, that's causing, you have a cause, then you have an effect. That's the person with the power, the person to cause something to happen, man. Okay? It started to rain. That was the cause. So what? Now everybody brings out their umbrella, their rain gear. Whether it be rain boots, rain coats. Everybody kind of have to cut on their windshield wipers, so on and so forth. All right. So the effect is the reaction, man. What people have to do based off the cause. All right. So the so-called white man and his power, he calls us all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark. And going to that word mark in the Greek is charagma, and it's an actual physical mark. This isn't no spiritual mark. It's like it. Yes, it has a spiritual meaning behind it. But this is a mark. Let me continue on. It says to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And that mark is the RFID chip. That's the mark of the beast. It says that no man might buy or sell, save he that have the mark or the name or of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of a beast, for it is the number of a man. So this is a physical mark, man. Okay? Coming from a man. Yes, it's a physical mark, but it does have a spiritual meaning behind it. Okay? So the point was I want to get at, he calls it all. So you can see here that the vision is set for a point in time. Matter of fact, let me get that real quick. We opened up with Habakkuk, the second chapter, correct? And it spoke about a vision. It's set for an appointed time. Then we just went to a prophecy in Revelation, the 13th chapter, 16th verse. So, what is that vision? We're going to read it real quick. 2 Ezra 6 and 9. Matter of fact, I'll start at 7. It says, the 2 Ezra 6 verse 7, it says, Then answered I and said, What shall be the parting and asunder of times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followed? All right, and that's a beautiful scripture because it says, "What shall be the parting and asunder of times?" Remember, the vision is yet for an appointed time. So now is this time. This RFID system or this cashless system wasn't around, all right, back during the time of John the Revelator when he received those visions. But now this is that parting and asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first? So this world, what's going to be the end of this world? And the beginning of it that followed, because even though it's the end, it's the beginning, okay? Why? The beginning of a new world, okay? That's why they trying to usher in their new world order, all right, to pretty much end this current world. But it's not going to happen. Verse 8, it says, and he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him. So let you know that the main two characters, the protagonist and antagonist, is Esau and Jacob. Jacob will be you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and Esau will be all you European nations, you Americans, even you Russians, you so-called white people. Okay? Esau born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and we can currently see the so-called white man runs this world. This is his current system. Okay, he owns everything. He's in power. Okay, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. And that's the vision. The end of the so-called white man's world, and this is the man. Okay? And by the way, here's a photo of this article, because when I have the article right here, but it doesn't show that same RFID type photo, I don't think. Yeah, it doesn't show it. Okay, but I'll leave that article in the comment section so you can read more about it. But this is what caught my eye. It says free RFID installation. So they installing the RFID chip, I guess, on the cars. It looks like this man is putting it on the cars, and it's free. Okay, so it's happening, man. But before I lose my train of thought, the vision is set for an appointed time. All right, Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. As we opened up with Habakkuk, all right, kind of I know I was thinking about now. So Revelation 13 chapter again, probably starting at I'll start at 11. Revelation 13 verse 11, it says, and I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and spake as a dragon. And that beast is America. All right, it's American empire. The beast represents power structures. Coming out of earth and had two horns like a lamb. All right, and that would be Democrats and your Republicans. Okay, it's right wing, left wing. The thing that's that power structure. Because what dictates who's in office? You have two political parties. You have a Democrat and you have Republican. Okay, so those are power structures. All right, to vote who's going to be in office, to pretty much to control the beast. It says two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. That dragon is those going into those draconian laws, man. Draconian laws, like right now, what are those if you don't know what draconian laws is, look it up. But some of those draconian laws right now is pretty much the whole face mask, mandation of the face mask, and forcing people to stay into their homes and so on and so forth, getting rid of the Constitution. That's unconstitutional, man. The simple fact that you can't gather together, you're limited. All right, you're forced to be home. You're being forced. So those are the as he spake as a dragon. Those are the draconian laws. And what two horns like a lamb. A lamb is a very docile animal. All right, so they come as a lamb. They come safety. This is for your safety. But at the end of the day, these are draconian laws, man. Drastic measures in the words of safety, man. Taking away your rights. Okay. Verse 12 says, he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and caused the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And that first beast will be the Roman Empire. And as you can see, all these are Edomite empires, man. From the Greeks to the Romans. All right. And when it says whose deadly wound was healed, the Romans, that the so-called white man power structure, the Rome fell. And then what? During the time of the Renaissance, okay, 1300s, that deadly wound was healed. Okay, that they started coming back into power. All right, the whole Christopher Columbus, 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. That's what they say. So to push forward, because Columbus, his agenda was to push the new world order, man. All right, that's why he came over to America, to push forth this new world order, to spread forth that Christianity, man. Okay, so here it is now. We in phase 2 of this new world order. All right, we're breaking down this first world. Okay, so the deadly wounds healed the power structure, so-called white man. And when he came out, all right, when he came back out, the deadly wounds healed in the time of the Renaissance. What? The rebirth. You had something called iconoclasm, where they went and started whitewashing, all right, what they would call religious images, like the pictures of all the disciples. The main picture that they covered, Job 9:24, was the description of our Lord Yahushua, who the world really calls Jesus Christ, which is a so-called black man, but they whitewashed that as well. Okay, so that's that deadly wounds healed. It says, and he doth great wonders, so that maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. And you can focus that on when they dropped the bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, all right, in Japan. Those are great wonders, because nobody had ever dropped that bomb on anybody. So this beast, another beast coming up out of the earth, had horns like a lamb. That's talking about America. The 13th verse confirms it, man. Okay, doing a great wonder. So he make a fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. Because while the whole world saw that, man, the whole world knew. If they didn't saw it, they knew about it. Okay, and that's what made all other countries in fear of America. All right, because they were the only ones to drop atomic weapons on anybody. It says, and deceived them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. Okay, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. So the so-called white man wasn't done away with after the Roman Empire. He was revived, man. Okay, the Roman Empire was revived. And as you see this power structure we have now. Mainly America, man. America is Rome all over again. It says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Okay, and that's talking about going after the philosophies. All right, because when the one the world really calls Jesus Christ, pretty much he came in the image of God. Okay, you can take that physical and metaphorically as well, because he looked like his father. He had hair like wool. Okay, and also he come in the image of God. So when the one who the world really calls Jesus Christ, Yahushua, which is his true name in the Hebrew, Yahushua, when he came down, this how God would be, or this what God would do if he was to come down to earth in a human body. He was that image of God, man. It tell you that in the scriptures, the image of God, man. Okay, so when they say it was the image of the beast, okay, meaning what is the image? It followed after the same ways of the Roman Empire, man. And we always go through this all the time. Pretty much basically how Rome spread its military too far thin, and America does the same thing. Their military is spread too far, man. They got military bases all around the world. Okay, and the infrastructure. The infrastructure of Rome started to fail. Why? Because they was putting all their money into the military. Look at the budget for the U.S. military. It far exceeds anything, man. Billions of dollars. Same thing Rome did. They devalued their currency. All right, the whole bread and circuses that go back to Rome. The entertainment, the coliseums, you have all that today. The UFC, very popular. Boxing, very popular. You got the NBA, the NFL. All right, that's all the bread and circuses, the same thing that was in Rome. Okay. So I'm going to go back to verse 15. It says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And what they do, they go and push forth their democracy. And if you don't go far as the ways of democracy, feminism, gay rights, okay, that's part of that philosophy, that image of what, of America. Okay, to push that throughout all the world. And then if you wasn't with it, what, you'll end up with the military invading your country, man, or some type of coup to overthrow you. All right. So that he calls it all, both small and great. That's that whole power structure. And you can see here, this is the Philippines, man. Okay. This here is in the Philippines, I think it said. All right. So he calls it all. So this is a global thing, man. The New World Order. Everybody, that's the plan. Everybody to be microchipped. Okay. So I'm going to end up closing it out on here. All right. So in 2nd Ezra 6 and 9, for Esau is the end of the world. We just went through some history stating how that's the so-called white man, his whole power structure. All right. This is him. This is that man right here. The end of his world. The end of his dominance, man. The end of his rulership. Okay, the Daniel's the 2nd chapter. All right. So with that, Lord willing, you edified. To next time, I'm going to say Shalom, all praise to Yahweh, Bashim Yahweh Shai, the one of apostles, great millstone that taught me this truth and that rule well. Peace, love, and blessings to you. I came out there pushing this truth. You sincere brothers in all faith and honesty. Shalom.